Hello everyone, welcome to Property Zone Live again. This is Sean, and today I'll be sharing with you some of the latest market update. They may be impacting or affecting your property now or in the near future. So today I'll be covering three topics. Number one will be the population growth in the greater Klang Valley or greater KL per se. As you know, population has a close positive correlation with the demand for property. So we'll cover that later. The second one is also the Madani effort announced by our PM to include minimum 1 to 2 blocks in the future developments. So we're going to see what is going to be the potential impact and what is a response by the real estate, the developer association, how they respond to it, and what will be the counter suggestions they make by the association. Of course, number three is none other than the strong performance of Ringgit. So I will explain later and why the Ringgit has been performing so well against greenback, the USD, and also the gold price. Okay, so without further ado, let's come back to the greater KL population growth. I think some of you might have been aware the latest data announced by our Federal Territory Minister. It says that our KL population is currently stand at 8.8 million. So in short, the whole KL consists of roughly about 25% of the whole Malaysia population. Okay, this 8.8 million represent a growth of 2.2% in terms of population compared to last year. So this translates to almost, in KL has increased by about 198,000 people in a year's time. Now, of course, not all, and in fact, most of the population growth are not organic growth. It means that people giving birth to the baby in KL, but rather from the migration. Okay, so the benchmark of 2.2% increment of population growth in KL versus the Malaysia average growth of 1.1, I think the backdrop of it is urban migrations and also some of the international migration of people from other states, other cities coming to KL for a few reasons. I think number one is, of course, all of you know, is the job opportunities, whether they are it's easier for them to find job in KL area, or also the pay is going to be higher. So this is one of the big motivation for them to come to KL. Second, none other than education. Sometimes when we talk about educations, especially when talking about secondary or tertiaries, some of these students might be accompanied by their parents or their mothers. So when one student come here, you may see more than just one population growth because they might bring along their family members. Number three, healthcare. Okay, so as population are aging, the demand for healthcare, the demand for better hospitality services is increasing. Then of course, all this representing the demand of a better amenities in their living environment. That's why the growth of property demand, the growth of population is very obvious in KL. Now, when this is happening, pressure has been put on to housing supply and public transportation. Okay, so housing supply, all of us know that developer is actually finding a way to build more houses in order to satisfy this demand. Also, the public transportation. I think one of the experts has pointed out, in order to ease the pressure on the traffic jam, we are encouraging people to take more transportation. And actually, the one major drawback for our public transportation system in Malaysia, or in KL to be specific, is basically the last mile. It's the connectivity, the frequency, and the on-time interval. Very simple. If any people who plan to go for an appointment or go to office, they need to know, if I arrive at the bus station near the house, what will be the arriving time in their office, only have this kind of certainties in mind for their traveling times, people are willing to take the public transportation. Okay, so let's move on to second topic. The second topic is about to include Madani block. It's a mass in housing project. This is an announcement made by our PM on 6th of August 2024, right? So as the press statement you will see on newspaper, our PM has instructed DBKL to make a mandatory requirement for all developers to build 1 or 2 block of Madani housing for any new projects. So in exchange, the authority will be giving more leniency or to expedite for any housing project approval required. Okay, so in other words, if you are a developer and you don't plan to build Madani, it's going to be very difficult and challenging for you to get a development approval. Okay, so when this happened, REDA, which is the Developer Association, has responded. If you're going to put through this policy, let's say in KL, it will eventually and it will actually immediately increase the free market price. Okay, why do you mean by that? Let's look at the price of the Madani block. The Madani block we are looking at would be the 700, 750 or 800 square feet. And the price of these they will be priced between the region of 150,000 to 200,000. So in other words, I'm talking about price per square feet at close to 200 over ringgit. So for the developer, we don't even talk about profit. For developer, this is actually extra cost they need to fork out in order to build this unit. So if this thing really become mandatory, developer will have no choice, but they have to do something called cross-subsidy. What it means that if there are 1,000 units and 200 units is going to Madani, and they will be selling at loss, they need to increase the price of the remaining 800 units in order to make the whole project, the whole 1,000 unit, to be profitable. And in order for the developer to build more houses and stay in the game. Okay, that's why there's a feedback. And also the proposal come from REDA is like, instead of putting the same requirement of 1 or 2 blocks for every project using the flat quota, there should be a determination, because certain area would require more housing like Madani in terms of pricing, in terms of the layout. Okay, and why they come on a proposal like this is, according to latest NABIC, 28.6% of the overhang properties means though has been completed but remain unsold for a long period of times. You'll be surprised, almost 1/3 of the overhang house are priced below 300,000. So it's against a lot of people's understanding or expectation is that overhang only happen at the more expensive housing segment. No, it's not. So in other words, even at the lower price property, if you do not put it at the right location, you will be targeting at the wrong market segment. Okay? Okay, last but not least, all of you will be holding either ringgit or currency or ringgit denominated assets. Any increase in ringgit by default should be good for us, for those who are holding the papers, the fixed deposit account, or any asset that is denominated in ringgit currency. So if you have paid attention, our ringgit has been performing very well, and in fact, the ringgit has hit a new high for the past 18 months against US dollar. Some of you might be curious why ringgit is performing so well. Is it ringgit that's performing so well, Or is it because dollar is performing so weak? I think if you look at the US dollar index, you will see is in fact the expectation of US interest rate has a very big impact of the US dollar performance. As announced, US CPI, which is the consumer price index, only increased by 0.2% on a month-to-month basis in July, and annual CPI changes is only 2.9%. This is the lowest CPI growth since year 2021. So in other words, when inflation subsides, they are actually fearing US economy is going to recession, or some people call it hard landing. Why? Because one of the very crucial job data means non-farm payroll. Basically, they want to indicate how many new jobs are created other than the farming side. Forecast, they were expecting to add 176,000 new jobs. But in actual, the market only added into 114. Instead of 176, they only added 114. Huge disparity of the market demand for workers. So because of that, you can see the whole stock market worldwide, not just in US, worldwide, especially Japan, they can drop about 12% in a day. Okay? So with the weak market data, weak job data, and the low inflation data, the whole world is expecting US to reduce interest rate. Just give you a hand. More than 70% of the economists or analysts, they expected 0.25% drop or 25 basis drop. In fact, more than half of the analysts responded. Some of them are actually expected a 50% or, a 50 basis point or 0.5% drop. Let's see, okay? And because of the weak dollars, the gold price has shot up to record high. I think they registered 2,531 per ounce, and CitiBank actually forecasts the gold price is going to shoot up to $3,000 per ounce. Okay. For some of you are paying attention to the gold price in Malaysia, you may be wonder, the international market, everybody's saying the gold price are shooting up. Why Malaysia gold prices has been stagnant for the past few weeks? In fact, they actually dropped a little bit. That is because when you look at Malaysia gold prices, everything is measured in Ringgit. You remember? Ringgit has been performing so well. Ringgit has been so strong. So in other words, you will require less Ringgit to buy the same gram of gold. Gold prices are fluctuating between 370 and then it drops to close to 350. This has to do with the performance. So in relativity, when you have stronger currency, you will require less currency of the country to buy the same amount of gold. Therefore, from our general investor eyes, the gold price has dropped in Malaysia. Even though you are seeing the international market, the gold price has been breaking record. So, this is what I'm going to share with you, the 3 topics about the KL population, about the Madani projects to be included in all the future developments, and as well as our currency versus US dollar. So with this, I'm going to conclude the night, and I hope to see you very soon. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.